Hello, beautiful soul. Welcome back to this week's episode of the You Unlimited podcast. I am so grateful to be a conduit for this message, for what's coming through specifically around wealth energetics and how to actually create the life that you desire by tuning into the energetics of how wealth works and simultaneously how to get into alignment with the thing that you desire because it's an ongoing process. It's not like a one and done or a three-step process and then you never do it again. It's about really tuning in to the fact that there's reasons why we have certain day-to-day processes that we lean into that help us have the capacity to quantum leap. So I'm going to explain kind of what that means. So this week was really a beautiful week, and it was also a triggering week in many different ways. So that's, I feel like the human experience is it gets to be beautiful and it gets to be triggering and it gets to be all of the above in whatever timeline makes sense for whatever our soul is calling in. So this week I was supposed to be heading to New York City to be on ABC Live, which is so much fun. I'm so excited and grateful to share about intuition in business in a space like that, in a space where it's pretty mainstream. And so I'm excited to kind of bring in that different perspective to plant seeds for those that want the competitive edge of not just looking at data, but simultaneously starting to look at the intuitive part of just making decisions as well. So it's going to be a lot of fun. But long story short, so I had everything scheduled. I moved out client appointments. I got a sitter. We booked flights, booked hotels, all of these things. Like we had everything in place. A couple days before, my PR agency reached out to me and they're like, hey, sorry, something about Russia. Long story short, we're going to have to push it out. And so my initial thought was like, like that frustration where you're like, man, I just spent all of this time planning, moving stuff around, getting situated so that I could show up and serve. And there were just a lot of logistics that needed to shift because this was shifting. So I let myself be in the trigger. I let myself move through it. I let myself be human. I think a lot of times people that are in kind of the spiritual space are like, oh, I just need to be like in the positive. Like, what's the most positive thing? And like, if that feels natural for you, like to immediately go to the positive, beautiful. But if there is a part of you that gets triggered by some sort of news or something that just kind of like goes against the grain, let yourself feel that with the intention of processing it out. So for me, what that looked like is just being really honest with how I was feeling, letting myself be frustrated, letting myself kind of verbally move it out of me, not at another person, but instead like holding space for myself, recognizing that I was frustrated, getting outside and letting myself move my body. That was really helpful too. So the goal is move the energy, don't just let it stay stagnant. So after I moved that trigger, I started to really tune in and say, okay, what is it exactly though that I can do to like what can I control here? And that is actually a very empowering place to be because what it does is it allows us to say, now that I've alchemized this, there's things that are out of my realm of control, which is Russia, which is when the airing is going to happen live, things of that nature. So what can I do now? What can I control? So, long story short, for me, that is looking at new flights, looking at a new booking, rebooking a new hotel, things of that nature. So, my husband's coming with me on this trip. So, I'm super excited about that. It's going to be so much fun. And so, what was funny is when at first the news came through that it was being canceled and it was super last minute, like his first kind of instinct, especially because it was just kind of like a longer, stressful day, and we all have those days, was like, oh, like the flights are going to be expensive. Like I think it might be too late to like cancel the hotel. I think we're going to be like charged XYZ. And I remember thinking like I actually like stopped him like mid sentence. I'm like, no, 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 let's not feed into that energy. I think that everything's going to work out exactly the way that it's meant to. Like I'll take care of it. Don't worry about it. So he's like, great. Like I've got all this other stuff that I need to do. That sounds perfect. So I was like, this is all going to work out. Like I know that this is going to work out. I believe in divine timing with all things. So even though the plan was for me to be in New York City for Thursday for the airing, it was like maybe this wasn't the divine time for the people that were most meant to hear the message to tune in. Or there's an infinite amount of reasons why things land at the divine time that it does. So I was just in complete trust. And I was like, we can figure this out. So when I tune into wealth energetics, what I was doing is I basically was like, everything will work out. I knew that it was going to work out. And the cool thing about the way that we manifest is if you actually look at your human design chart, I don't know if you've looked at your human design chart before, but if you're new to that, or let's say you've looked at it before, but you're not clear on maybe this part yet, one of the things that I know about myself is I am a non-specific manifester. Meaning, if you look at your human design chart, there are four arrows at the top of your chart. So if you look at the arrows on the right and you look at the bottom arrow, it's going to tell you something about the way that you manifest. So again, looking at your human design chart, there are four arrows at the top. If you go to the right side, the bottom arrow, is it pointing towards the left or is it pointing towards the right? If it's pointing towards the left, you are a specific manifester, which basically just means you love the details of a manifestation. So things like if you're manifesting in a new car, something like the make, the model, the color gets you more excited about the manifestation and gets you in the energy of this car coming into fruition. Now, if you're a non-specific manifester, it's more about the feeling. So, what does that car give you? That feeling of freedom, that feeling of adventure, whatever that looks like. And then you give the details over to the universe, right? So, as a non-specific manifester, I was in the energy of it's all going to work out. And I don't know exactly how it's going to work out, but I know that it's going to work out. So I wasn't like, it has to work out this way. That didn't get me excited to say it had to kind of like land in this way. But for someone who's a specific manifestor, they might be like, what gets me excited is actually saving money on flights. What gets me excited is that, everything or that my hotel is actually gonna be less expensive, right? Like getting into the details of, for me, I was like, everything is gonna work out and I'm gonna let the universe handle those details. So I found two replacement flights for both me and my husband, made sure that they still had, two seats next to each other, and went online, went to go book it. And I kept getting kicked out of the booking page. And I was like, okay, that's weird. Like I tried it like three or four times and I'm like, uh-oh, like at some point this flight like could go up actually because I keep trying to purchase it and it's like, they track those things. But I was also like, nope, not feeding into that energy, coming back into my center. Everything is working out for a reason. I'm going to call American Airlines and see what they can do for me. So I reached out to American and I ended up manifesting this like incredible woman who was like, I've got you, like no worries. Like, let me look up these flights. Oh, perfect. We have like these seats like next to each other. I love it. Da da da. Let me see what the difference in price is. And so originally, when I was looking at the difference in price online, it was going to be an extra $500 per ticket for me and Brad. So $1,000 across the board for this extra ticket or changing our ticket because it was kind of last minute. But I was like, I believe that everything's going to work out perfectly. If it's that, great. If it's not that, great. We're going to figure it out. So I reached out to her. She's like, let me see what the difference is. And she's like, you know what? You're actually getting a flight credit of $110. She's like, so do you want me to, I'll go ahead and send you that email. Does that sound good? And I'm like, that sounds great. Like she just saved me $600. Like I didn't pay the 500. I ended up making $110 off of it. Like I was like, that sounds wonderful. Like let's go for it. So I was like, so good. Like this is all working out the way that it's meant to. So then she goes to, we have two separate bookings. So then we go to book Brad's ticket and then we go in there and she's like, oh, okay. So the difference in price is actually going to be plus $100. Is that okay? And I was like, sure. Like at the end of the day, like it's still less than $500. That sounds good. And so I was thinking a couple different things where I was like, how interesting that we're booking with the exact same woman. We're actually receiving two different outcomes, and it might be, and it probably is, because we're operating on two different vibrations right now. Neither is right or wrong, but we just got two different outcomes based on the energy that we were playing into and what we were believing was possible. So I think because I was making the call and I was in the energy of everything is working out, I was kind of counteracting some of his initial thoughts about, oh, this is going to be way more expensive, right? So it's like his thinking was it would be more expensive, therefore it was, but I was like, it's going to all work out and it's not going to be very much more, if anything. And so it was like, that was the counteraction of that. So I was in the energy of everything is working out. So beautiful. So now it's like, okay, we saved like basically, yeah, $1,000 across the board because the hundred is kind of a wash. I got a credit. He paid the 100, but I saved $1,000 across the board for the flight. So I'm like, cool, this is lining up. So then we go to look at the hotel and I'm like, oh, okay. So Brad's like, oh, we passed the window of like when you can change it without getting a fee. I'm like, I got this. I can take care of this. We're good. So I jump on the phone and I somehow manifest this incredible guy from Amex. And he's like, oh, it looks like, you passed that window. Let me just see what I can do. And I'll give them a call, just put you on hold. So I'm like, great. So he puts me on hold. They're playing like some really good background music. I'm kind of like dancing to it. I'm in like this high vibe state, just knowing like, again, everything is going to work out. It's all going to unfold the way that it's meant to. So he jumps back on the line like 18 minutes later or something. And he's like, I've got news for you. Like, this guy is awesome. And he's like, not only did they waive the cancellation fee, but they're going to honor the old rate, which it's actually doubled since then. And I was like, what? Like, let's go. Like, thank you so much. I was so excited. And so it was so beautiful because, again, we saved an extra $1,500 from that experience or whatever that was. So it was really beautiful just kind of witnessing what happens when I'm in the higher vibration that lands me on a different frequency that then connects me with the people that can support me with what I believe is possible. So again, I wasn't in the specific details, I was in the non-specific details. And I was also just conscious of my vibration and what I was allowing in, like the different stories that were happening around me. I was like, none of it is right or wrong. I also oscillate. I also have the days where I'm like, no, like this is all not working out, you know? And we all have those days. Like we're human beings. We're going to have moments where we have super low vibrational experiences and then other days where we're like, okay, like we've got this. Everything's going to work out. So because I was in that energy already, I was like, I'm just going to be conscious of kind of what else is being said around me that's either working for me or not, and I'm only going to take in what's working for the outcome that I desire. Right. So I was just really conscious about that, which is why I basically like took myself from the living room and like went into my closet and was like, I'm going to work in here. I don't know why, but I love my closet. It's just like it's where I first started to channel. It's where I first like opened the Akashic records. Like, it's just like it's a beautiful space. This is like very comfy and cozy and I love it. So long story short, that's where I was taking the calls, but it was really beautiful. And I think the reason that I was able to be in that higher vibration when the things were happening and when, there was fear around me that was kind of creeping in and when things were not going to plan is because I have recently continued to step back into the basics. So for a little while there, I just talked about this last week on the podcast, but for a little while there, I kind of lost track of my daily routines and I was kind of noticing that I was magnetizing in things that weren't really serving me. And I was like, what? Why is this happening? Like, let me pause, which this will happen to every single one of us from time to time. It's really important that we pause and say, is the energy that I'm in right now working for me or is it not? And how can I actually counteract it if it's not? And so that's what I recognized for me. I was like, something's kind of off. It's not working for me. And I was like, wow, I've kind of lost sight of my daily routines. Like I haven't gone back to the basics. And I just talked about this in last week's podcast, which was a great podcast all about like getting back into the basics and just a really, really powerful reset for your energy. So if you didn't listen to last week's podcast, 10 out of 10 recommend it. It's like the number one secret that Kobe Bryant swore by, which he was all about the basics, like getting back to the basics. He was practicing the basics every single day, even being at the top of his field. And so it was like, how do we get to do that as well? Because the work is never done. It's about continuing to kind of set yourself up so you have more capacity to hold or to process, I should say, not hold, process when things do not go to plan, when things go haywire, which is why I was able to, I think, alchemize that trigger pretty quickly when I was like feeling frustrated about the fact that things were changing last minute. I was triggered by it, but it didn't take me off the rails. Like sometimes things can as human beings. It was more like okay, like there's something deeper here and I get to process that out. Like what is this? What is this really connected to? It's not this. What is the 5 layers underneath this? Feeling like I need to control something. Okay, was there a moment in time when I was a child that felt like I couldn't control something? It feels so simple, but I'm telling you, when we can start to go back in and understand where the trigger is really rooting from, this is the whole reason why triggers happen in the first place. Like our buttons are being pushed to tell us that we have buttons. Where is the button originating from? Right. And so it's really important for us to start to get clear on where is it coming from and alchemize it in real time and also get back to those basics so that we have the capacity to alchemize in real time versus completely fall off the rails, which will happen from time to time, but it's about, recognizing that, loving the fact that we're human, having grace with ourselves, and then seeing how we can get back to where we were before or create more capacity, which there's many different ways to create capacity. For me, that looks like movement of my body. That looks like leaning into my healers every single month and moving energy. I have different healers for different things. So I've got a somatic healer that I see. I basically pay her, like, I don't know what I pay her, but I basically pay her so that I can sit in her office for 2 hours and just essentially like cry and shake my body. And it works. I'm telling you, I leave there and I'm like a different person every single time. And that's why I bring somatic practices into what I do, with my mastermind clients, with my one-on-one clients. It's just really, really important. And so it's really powerful to open or to create space like this for you to create more capacity to be able to handle when things don't go your way, right? Because that will happen. And so it's powerful to just say, like, do I have the capacity to pivot really quickly, though? And when we do, it allows for faster solutions. It allows for things to actually manifest almost even better than they could have before, which in this case, it feels like it manifested even better than it would have before because now we're saving money. Now it's landing at a divine time. Now, actually, when we're traveling, works better with my son. So there's a lot that I feel was this beautiful silver lining of all of this shifting. And sometimes when we're so deep in the trigger, we can't see the silver lining. And so it's important to say, to alchemize it in real time. So then we can get to the wisdom underneath the experience. Because it's like, this is happening for a reason. So let me move the heavy energy now so I can get into the creative solution or understand why this is maybe occurring. So we have deeper capacity for that. So yeah, this is just one example of how it's so important for us to tune into what is the energy I'm in today? How is that impacting the way that I'm magnetizing in wealth, the way that I'm magnetizing in clients, the way that I'm magnetizing in my soulmate, like whatever it is that you're wanting to magnetize in, it doesn't matter. It will be completely unique to you, but it's really important for us to start to tune in and say, okay, so where is my energy at now, such that I'm able to either call this in or I'm kind of detracting it from me instead. Like I'm kind of pushing it away. So it's really powerful for us to start to tune in and say, how am I magnetizing in or how am I pushing this away? And if I'm pushing this away, how can I shift my energy? Because the only real moment is now. So now is the perfect moment to say, let me do something different. And so going back to those basics, exactly as I said before, is going to be the thing that helps you do that. So for me, again, it's neurofeedback, it's movement, it's eating healthy, it's getting back to my daily processes like or practices like journaling, things of that nature. It's so basic, but it's so powerful too, because what it does is it's basically reinforcing that good things are happening. It's reinforcing a calm feeling in our body. It's reinforcing high vibrational feelings in our body so that we're more aware when something's a low vibrational experience and we know to alchemize it more quickly and we have more capacity to alchemize things more quickly and come up with that creative solution. So I love this so much. So if you have not yet, please join my Instagram broadcast channel. I actually just last week was sharing about this experience, like a little like snippet of the experience. Every single week I'm in there, I'm doing a download of some kind, which means a channeled message of some kind. And then I'm also simultaneously doing some other things in the space, which is like card pulls. So you use your intuition to pull cards as well in the space, which is really fun. And so they got to experience kind of the breakthrough in real time. I shared with them what I did to kind of move through the energy and magnetize in what I wanted. So that's a really cool space that if you love the podcast, you're going to love that too, because it's basically what I'm doing in here, but I'm doing that in real time too, because I don't have to have my podcast equipment to actually channel the message for you. So if you haven't joined that yet, drop to the link in my show notes. Feel free to join in that space. Once your energy is in the space, I'm now channeling on your behalf, which is so much fun. And then you're going to have experience weekly card pulls, which means you get to use your intuition, experience a beautiful personalized reading. It's just a lot of fun. So it's high vibes in the space. I would love to welcome you into the space and can't wait to just experience you in that space. So again, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope that you receive something beautiful and tangible from this experience. And at the very least, just a reminder that you can absolutely shift your energy in real time. And so that's the beauty of we can start again in any moment. And so the power of knowing that is this moment right here, right now is the only moment that's going to impact future moments. So what am I doing with this one right now? Do I need to alchemize low vibrational emotions or can I lean further into what feels good? Am I leaning into the basics so that I'm set up for success? Things of that nature. So okay, I'm sending you so much light and love, and until next time. Mwah.